The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Speaking with the Senator. I'm Senator Kevin Avard, and today we have a couple of really wonderful guests, and I want to introduce them to you. Well, we're going to be talking a little bit about real estate, we're going to be talking a little bit about music, and we're going to be talking a little bit about construction. And with that, I'm going to introduce Matt Mayberry. Welcome.
Senator, thank you. Glad to be here.
And an old friend of mine, Brad Bosse. Welcome.
So good to see you.
Good to see you.
Way too long.
So the last time I saw Brad Bosse, we were working together at PC Connection, and one thing that I noticed about Brad right away, and it was the fact that he was one of the hardest workers at PC Connection when we first started. We had to do.
He still is.
Are you still at PC? You
No.
can't be.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well,
I'm saying I'm still a hard worker.
You're
but,
still a hard worker. Well,
you know, I'm OCD, so I don't think of it as hard work. It's just how I process things.
Well,
it's how I go about my day in a very crazy way.
I'm not OCD, but we all noticed that about you. I think we had to do like 40 or 60 calls a day or something to that effect, and he's doing 120. And,
I remember that.
And then that carried on to the music industry with you, Brad. You're a musician. We kind of hit that off.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, it seemed like every time I turn on Facebook, there's Brad Bosse playing at the Copper Door, or he's playing at Fratello's, or you're just constantly working. And now you're engaged in the real estate business.
Yeah.
And one thing I could tell my viewers, you want somebody that's going to be working hard for you. You're going to want somebody that works and is not afraid of work and that enjoys what they do. And I got a feeling you do that.
I try to.
Yeah.
Well, how many gigs a year would you do?
So on average, I did it for about 8 years full time, and I averaged about 360 shows a year. One year I did 389, and it was wild. I was like, why am I doing this to myself?
But it was fun, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
For such a long time, it was. People would ask me, they're like, how do you gig so much? And truly, I was like, it's my therapy of the day. I don't have to worry about anything. I just get lost in the music for 3 hours. It was perfect. I love it.
There's something about being in that feedback you get from your audience.
Yeah,
too.
you get a total natural high from it, and that just, it feels good.
I know when I practice myself, when I'm practicing, I can sing, I can practice, but it doesn't sound the same. When I'm live, there's a whole spirit that comes over me.
There is.
And it's like, wow. And
There's an adrenaline rush.
It's an adrenaline rush.
Something takes over, because you're so right. Because I could sit at home and sing a song, and it doesn't sound the same as when I'm doing it on stage.
Right.
There's some weird cosmic force that it.
And it's probably the feedback. And Matt, you're engaged in construction.
Yes, I am now the executive, for 4 months now, I've been the executive director of the New Hampshire Home Builders Association. We have over 400 members, and we represent 36,000 construction jobs in the state of New Hampshire. And so, Senator, one of the things why it was important to come to Nashua and talk about are things like affordable housing and breaking that stigma that affordable housing is not low-income Section 8 ghetto housing. This is homes for police officers, firefighters, nurses. Their starting pay is around $42,000 a year. They can't afford to live in the municipalities that hire them. And Senator, one thing that you've always been a champion of, that's why I asked to come on here. And so we talk about housing, that's why I want Brad to come on, is that you've always been the champion of the underdog. You've always been the one to take up the mantle of those who don't get all the lucky breaks. Mm-hmm. Because the three of us haven't had all those lucky breaks in life. Had to scramble a little bit harder, work a little bit harder, read a little bit more than everyone else. And so we wanted to come on and talk about what's going on with that supply chain, what's going on with the construction. There's homes out there that are still for sale in a super hot market. Brad can give them ideas of how do you get your home sold. There are buyers who are frustrated because they're submitting offers and they're not being accepted. So Senator, when you and I spoke, you said, I want to help people. I want to help my constituents. So get down to Nashua and tell us how to get this done.
Yeah, there does seem to be, and of course I have a little cleaning business, so I'm in all types of homes, whether Section 8 all the way to, we just did a home the other day. It must have been at least $750,000, maybe $1 million home here in Nashua, and it seems as though the people that just got to rent this particular home, they coming up from Alabama, and they were looking everywhere. They looked everywhere, and this one just came up. So finding these places seems to be hard for people, to get to locate. But even some of these like two-room apartments are hard to find. It's hard to find. And meeting with the governor today, we were talking a little bit about the workforce. There's going to be a crunch coming up in the next 5, 10, 15 years. The workforce, and in order to facilitate that, you need good homes, you need good housing, you need development. But there seems to be a bottleneck right now. And when somebody's looking for a home, is it easy for you to place them, Brad?
To be a buyer in this market's tough right now.
Okay.
The inventory is so low.
Talk about that Nashua house that you listed.
Oh yeah. So good friend of mine, him and his wife, they're expanding their family and they're living in a 3-bedroom ranch, and it was time for them to move on, and they wanted to take advantage of the market. So, they called me up. I listed their property. We listed it at 300. No, we listed this property. That's a different property. We listed this at 350. I did an open house Saturday and Sunday, and I did private showings all that weekend. I had 108 parties of people roll through the 2 open houses. They were both just 2-hour windows each. 108 parties of people. I had about 43 private showings. We ended up getting 24 offers, sold it for $60,000 over.
That's crazy.
So
Yeah.
what's the secret if you're in the market to buy? What's the secret that people should know?
If you're a buyer, oh man, have cash.
Really?
Honestly, you got to know. You got to go for the right stuff. You know what I mean? Because typically everything's going over. Mm-hmm. So if your budget's $400,000, you can't be looking at $400,000 houses. You know what I mean? You gotta know what your budget's at.
Okay.
Because most things are going to be going over.
You're going to need a cushion.
Yeah, you're going to need a cushion because, a lot of the times it comes down to appraisal. When you get a property and it appraises lower or something like that, you're going to have that cash to make up an appraisal gap to whatever the offer is that you put in. Say the property's in the market for $360, they put in an offer for $400, the appraisal comes back at $380, there's a $20,000 gap in there. And if your offer, when you put in an offer, says, regardless of appraised value, purchase price shall be $400, you're willing to make up that gap, your offer is going to look way better than everybody else's. So that's what I mean by saying have cash, not necessarily putting in a cash offer, but you have to have some funds to be competitive in a market like that, especially when it's an attractive property like that one in Nashua.
We heard
or look below her, knowing that you may elevate up.
Right. Yeah.
So if your budget's 400, look at 350.
Yeah, look at 350 and below.
You may be able to go.
Well, we've heard some rumors where people are saying they're even foregoing the home inspections.
Oh, it's like everybody's doing that right now.
Wow.
And it's tough for me to coach my buyers and say, I would never advise them to do it. But I'm like, it's up to you guys, but I would never, because personally, I would never buy a house, and I just hit my mic. I would never buy a house without inspection because you just never, I've seen the movie Money Pit with Tom Hanks, you know what I mean?
Right, so it's you're buying at your own risk. I mean, the foundation could need to be replaced or something to that effect. So what's going on with the home builders?
Growing by leaps and bounds that, we had a great event this morning with the governor.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great time.
Hardest working
Oh,
governor.
you were there too?
Yeah. I'm part of the Home Builders Association.
All right.
That's how I got on the show.
Okay.
Bring the members on. But these folks have booked out a year and a half in advance. Mm-hmm. We're talking a little bit off camera of how companies are bidding for jobs
Right.
and they're losing the bids of the contract because they can't fulfill it financially because now that material is too expensive. And so one thing that we wanted to talk and convey to the people of Nashua is that have some patience. That everyone's trying, no one's getting rich, because what's happening is we have a diminished workforce.
Yep.
And we're trying to address that through some apprenticeship programs that we're doing that, Senator, we're going to brief you on, and the other senators. We're working with the Federal Department of Labor, State Employment Security, State Department of Education, and Frank Adel Blue, and the Community College System of New Hampshire to bring forward carpentry apprenticeships.
Yep.
So we're trying to put some labor back into that career field. But if you're at home and you're thinking about that home renovation, we all watch way too much HGTV, way too much of it. Just have some patience. Don't try those repairs at home. If, like myself, I have no mechanical ability at all, none. I have a hard time putting gas in my car. So I'm not going to try to change out my kitchen sink. Just wait for those contractors.
Yeah.
Get in there. But also do your research. There's also a lot of scams out there. People are taking
Great point.
People are taking a 50% deposit and they're vanishing. That's wrong. Hold on.
Yeah, verify. We just had a deck built on the back of
Yeah.
our house, and it seemed like it took forever. But they were spreading out their labor force amongst 3 or 4 different jobs, and then of course the cost of materials once it was bid, and the guy came back and said, "Look, the cost has gone up," and I said, "No, but you bid it at this."
Correct.
And we didn't bargain for this, so it got done. They did an amazing job, but it took forever. But the cost, he had to have broke even or lost money on the job because of all the labor that was engaged in that. And so what we would get was a laborer for 3 or 4 hours a day.
Exactly.
And then they'd go finish another job. And then of course, so that's an issue. And I have a feeling it's going to get worse, according to what we've heard today. And so what we're trying to do, and the governor is definitely trying to do this, is he wants to streamline the process for projects. So if there's a road project or if there's a building project, it shouldn't have to go through hoops and whatever. What normally should take 15 to 20 days for an application is taken up to 60 to 90, even up to 120 days for an application to actually get through before a project gets bid or done. And then once they start that project, the cost of materials has just skyrocketed. Now, I do have a question though. Are we at the peak with this housing? I mean, are the prices going to go down? I mean, did we see? Is there a flattening?
It's really hard to say. I mean, I think like I've gotten some buyers under contract recently, so it's definitely starting to happen a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
More so than say April, because April was just like you have buyers and you're like, here we go, we're up against 25 offers. Let's cross our fingers and hope for the best.
Wow.
Now there's less offers being put in, and that's a lot because buyers are also getting buyer's fatigue. They're tired of getting denied their offers all the time, so they're kind of just like, we're gonna cool down a little bit and wait it a little bit. So it's giving more opportunity for newer buyers coming in to fill those spots because a lot of them are just exhausted from it.
Yeah.
And Senator,
Because it's emotional. You see a property and you see yourself in it, and you're like, I just had to give the news to a couple the other day, and they were just like, oh, we had our heart set on that. I'm like, I know. We'll find you something though. I promise you. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
One thing, Senator, you're going to see is that rank and file consumers are beginning to strongly look at the zoning and planning that goes on in their municipalities. Mm-hmm. Because when you have a town such as Hanover, New Hampshire, that their minimum lot size is 10 acres, you just want to be a town of millionaires. And so one thing I've heard from the left and the right on the political spectrum is enough. These 2 and 3 acre minimums, because some of these municipalities don't want to have children in there, when we can show every economic indicator and every economic research that young families in a community actually help economic development. Mm-hmm. All the things that the the green community saying that, we want, less emissions, we want, more efficiency. We've got to come and build infilling into communities. So I think you're going to see a strong press. You're going to see a press come across your desk of the state mandating smaller lot sizes. That's saying that municipalities can't do this. And so then we get into a local control issue.
That's yeah.
And that's a big one for you.
This very topic is one of the things that we brought up today.
Yep. But we've got to address this problem.
Yeah.
So if you're at home listening to this and you're tired of high housing costs, get on the planning board, get on the zoning board, and
Get involved.
get
And those are
involved.
appointments by the
involved.
way of your mayor
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
most towns.
And just raise your hand.
Yeah.
But
I know
and
there
fight those acre minimums.
I know there are towns such as like Ringe and up in that area that one of the things they want to do is they really want their independence and as a town, and they want to be able to have control of that local control. This is like this type of talk would scare the heck out of them when people are talking like that. Then you can go to another community and they say, yeah, welcome. We'd love to have you, because that means more kids in the community. It's not going to age out. Lots of more things will be happening, and so there's a pull that's it's going to be visceral. It's going to be a tough year.
But people don't like change.
They
And
don't
that's
like
the
change,
thing. It's
and-
just inherent.
And that's one of the things that was brought up, is the fact that, well, in order for these developments to come in, don't just come in and put in an application. Talk to the community first. Don't come in and just say, this is the way it's got to be. And
No, but that's why we created the Housing Appeals Board.
yeah,
Because what's happening is you had developers who want to do a home, and I've been there. I was on the Dover City Council, Dover School Board, been involved for a long time. And you would come by, and people would literally on these planning boards and zoning boards and like, I don't like that street lamp. Could you
Yeah.
pick out some other ones? That's not their job. It's not their role. It is to adjudicate complaints. It is to operate within what zoning is there, not to pick paint colors.
Right.
Not to say, I really, if you put that driveway on the right, I think it'd be a much prettier house. And they're doing it.
yeah.
I
And
had
they're-
that experience recently with that piece
Yeah.
of land in
Yeah.
that town.
In town.
I won't
It's
speak names.
not their job. So when you have communities that say, we don't want kids in there, that's wrong. And they say, we want the local control, but we want low taxes. Well, the only way to really offset low taxes is through commercial and retail development.
Correct.
One thing I think that we should be looking at, I'm not advocating that as part of the home builders. This is not part of their policy. But what I hear from consumers, what I hear from builders and developers, is look at something of saying you have a commercial and retail development, you should allow for residential in that same complex. Because you have the labor pool right there. So now you're not driving into the retail area, you're walking downstairs.
Right.
Less cars on the road, less stress on our infrastructure, less emissions, less carbon, more efficiency. You're living where you're working. Drew Klein has said it best. The other day I was with him. He said, everybody loves Portsmouth, likes walking around Portsmouth. You can't build Portsmouth today because of current zoning laws.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't have homes on the sidewalk. You can't have homes that are butting each other with a foot in between. No, you gotta have a 2-acre minimum. So all the things we find appealing about New Hampshire, we cannot create today, where you lived above the shop. And that's wrong.
It's going to be a really delicate conversation because I look at the whole situation. I don't know if you've ever been in a condo association.
I've sold, I live in one.
So there's
do I.
there's a whole world there. There's a whole different type of government there. They're a government unto themselves.
Yep.
And that's what's happening. They're like a microcosm of what's happening statewide, and they don't have to listen to anybody. It's whatever their private organization, they're a private area, and when I say they don't have to listen, I'm tongue in cheek, but they really are a rule unto themselves, and it's private property. And some of the towns are adopting that same mentality. So you get a certain amount of people on those condo associations that don't want any change. You're not getting any change.
And then your condo fees go up,
And your condo fees go up.
and your infrastructure starts to fall apart.
And people
then
get upset.
And then the value of your condominium actually drops because you haven't done the maintenance on it.
Yeah, it's probably, people don't realize it in surrounding towns, but that's what's happening in those particular towns where people don't want the change. I get it, but there's going to be this tension between local control and a real serious need that we have for housing.
And that's going to be tough for selling too, because higher fees, people don't want to pay that. It's going to, I know it's a seller's market, but that turns people away from certain properties, and might be a reason that a property's on the market for such a long time, because they don't want to have to pay those high fees.
Now, speaking of sellers, I mean, obviously we talked about buyers, and what do they do? What do sellers have to think about these days?
I mean,
How do
sellers.
they maximize?
You definitely want to go through the whole, staging's super important. You want to make your property look as best as possible. Photos are huge, because everybody nowadays, their first showing is online, like Zillow and, all that. It's so big. When anybody looking for a house, they're going to Google it. Zillow is going to be the first thing they pop up to, and they're going to look through the photos. And a lot of the time, people are doing 3D tours, Matterport tours, which are really cool.
Yeah.
You get to walk through the
Do you
house before
offer
you
that?
go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I offer it to any of my listings, and some people want it. It's better for certain houses for sure, but yeah, that first showing is online. So you're trying to entice them enough to leave their house and come down to actually see it in person.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing. You want it to be as attractive as possible that way.
I saw an ad the other day, and it talked about, are you tired of those local real estate people? Call us. They're international. They'll sell it, and you'll get more money for your house if you go through us. I'm thinking, that sounds, if you're not going to be dealing with somebody right in front of you,
Right.
that's accountable to you, what's the attraction? Is that hurting the industry?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think people I look at it this way, like, do I want to buy a house or sell a house with somebody I don't know anything about or have no trust? It's one of your biggest assets in life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And purchasing a house is one of the biggest, purchases you're going to make in your life. Am I going to want to go with some random person from working for an online company, or do I want to work with somebody who has been referred to by a friend that, worked for them? And I work by referral a lot of the time,
Yeah.
I do a good job for them. They're going to tell somebody else about it, and they're going to trust me to do the job that they did for their friend for them.
Yeah, we went through the Megan Clancy real estate agency here in Nashua when we bought our house. I know Jeannie. Jeannie's, I know where she lives.
Yeah. Like the comfort of being able to just know, you could show up to her house if you wanted to, be like,
Well-
I'm not happy right now. But just that comfort level, I wouldn't want to work with somebody that I don't just over the phone for a home sale.
Experience counts.
Yeah, it does, and somebody that you can trust, and somebody that is actually going to be working for you. And that's one of the things I want to let people know, whether it's Clancy Real Estate or you, Brad. I mean, you're hard workers, and I admire that, and to the point where I trust people that work hard.
And that's why the people in Nashua trust you, Senator, because you work hard. I've been with you when you've knocked on 400 doors. I've been with you when you've taken calls at 11 o'clock at night because someone has a concern. Your phone rings and you answer it. You really do live, you live by the moniker that if you're awake, you're working. I've seen the grant, I've seen you do those Boy Scout dinners, because, Facebook made stalking legal for everyone.
It's
So you could see that.
great point.
You're at 8 o'clock at night, you're at a Boy Scout Eagle Court dinner. And then at 1 o'clock in the morning, you're in Methuen, cleaning carpets and helping someone who's had a pipe break.
Yeah.
So
I like those, by the way. If you have a pipe that breaks, I can suck up the water for you.
exactly, you
But
can
seriously, you are also one of the most hardworking people I've
Yes.
ever met in my life.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I think that's the theme of us three together.
Birds of a feather.
do that. You're known by the company you keep,
Yeah.
and that if you work hard and that experience counts, because experience does count.
Yeah.
They can call you with a state agency problem. They can help. When
Yeah.
you know, if your water tank breaks in the middle of the night, you're going to call your realtor, who can help call you
And
through.
I'm going to answer my phone at 2 in the morning. That's the type of realtor I am.
But
And
you can't call one of those 1-800 numbers
No.
in Nevada, because that's it. I'm sorry, we're closed till Monday at 9 a.m. Have a nice day.
Yeah, and if you're in Hollis, Mike Espinola, he's a good guy. He works for Paul the Plumber. He does great work.
Good to know.
Good, hardworking guy. But
I got to
like,
use you as a cleaner sometimes.
I like to drop names because I think it helps people.
It's networking.
Yeah.
It's connecting the dots. I think one thing I think I found as a senator, being able to connect somebody to somebody who knows how to get it done is a gift. And just listening and to finding out who's who, you can say, okay, you're a small business owner. The Island Girls, they were just on the show not too long ago. They got a little a restaurant here in Nashua, and they called the Small Business Development Center, and they helped them out. But it's connecting those people to the right people to help things
Absolutely.
get done.
Yeah.
And those are the trophies in life. Those are the trophies of public service, by the way. When you know that you've helped somebody, you don't need the fanfare, you don't need the media there. It just gets done, and you're satisfied with that. Like, wow, okay, I actually did something good. This is why I'm here.
And that's why you do it.
Yeah,
Because it does make you feel good.
yeah, it's like ministry, really. The title politician really rubs me wrong because a real politician gets paid. We don't get paid.
Yeah, speaking of that legislation that's coming through from our
Yes.
friend Brody Deshays, hit him upside the head. He wants to lower your $100 pay to, I think it's 10 cents a year.
Wonderful. Give me a college education degree with that then, because it's equivalent to a master's degree if you're a senator. I'm telling you, we spend hours and hours listening to experts, expert after expert after expert.
1,500 pieces of legislation introduced each cycle.
Each one, unlike Washington D.C., has to be read, has to be heard. There has to be a hearing. It has to be voted on individually.
Yes.
That's the beauty of New Hampshire. That's also why we have such a big legislature. But the bigger, it seems like, everybody's got an idea.
Yeah.
Everybody's got an idea, and it's a priority. So, some final thoughts with the home builders.
Hang in there. Life's going to be better. And if you're a contractor, contact us. We can help you get your job better.
And how do they get in touch with you, Brad? If you want to buy, sell a house, or if you want some just some information, might be in the market.
Give me a call. Honestly, I'm available at all times.
And how do they do that?
603-801-1838 or email me bbosse@kw.com.
And the name of the business is?
Brad Bosse.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
The Realtor Boss.
The
Realtor Boss.
People I know, and he's a good musician. Are you still gigging?
I'm not. I took a break.
Yeah.
360 gigs a year.
It'll come back.
It
You
will.
watch.
That's why I stopped, because I needed a break, and I know it'll come back. I just needed some time.
Yeah, once a musician, always a musician. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Speaking with the Senator. Brad Bosse, Matt Mayberry, two good friends, good hardworking souls, and a great resource for New Hampshire. And if you want to come on the show, please come on the show. Call us, get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. And until next week, thanks for watching Speaking with the Senator.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.